My name is Harbhajan Singh Sidhu, General Secretary, Hind Mazdoor Sabha, HMS India. I am representing 9 million employees of my country. My organization believes in free, independent, democratic organization. We have no affiliation with any political party. We believe in free, independent, democratic organization. And in my country, from last so many years, Hind Mazdoor Sabha is fighting for the legitimate demands of the workers. Since 91, my government of India had decided to welcome the globalization and decided in the cabinet to liberalize their policy in favor of capitalists. And my government had decided to open our border to invite the multinational to come to our country, invest their capital, start their new industries. And government told to the citizen of India that after inviting multinational to our country, they will start new industry, they will give jobs to the unemployed youth, and our per capita income will increase, our unemployment will reduce, our country will also flourish, and we will reach to the mark of the developed countries. Our name will be in the world globe, and for the purpose of development, all the citizens have waited. And since 91, what we have seen, multinational have come, they have purchased the profit-making industries in our country, and they have decided to reduce the workforce. And after purchasing the multinational company, profit-making industry by the multinationals, they have reduced the workforce, and in the name of modernization, new technology, and getting profit out of that, and take away from our country to their home country. And in the multinational where they are working, there is no job security, there is no social security, there is no time limit of working, and they are not even issuing employment appointment letter. They don't want to create a relation between the employer and the employee, and where there is no relation employer-employee, there is no field of the labor laws. They are openly violating the labor laws. They are doing unfair labor practice in my country, and our government is supporting all the multinationals. And since 91, we have seen that number of small-scale industries have been closed. Millions of workers have been thrown on the road. Unemployment have been increased, and job security have been gone, and social security they have not ready to give. And since 91 up till now, we have lost millions of jobs of the working employee. And due to this anti-labor policies, our all central trade union have decided to come together on one platform, form a joint platform, that is a joint action committee of all central trade union, formulated a common minimum demand charter, having a 10 point in that. In 10 point of the demand charter, one item of that the convention of the ILO 87-98, freedom of association and collective bargaining, should be ratified by the government of India in favor of the working employee. But up till now, we are not getting any success in that. But still we are on the road. We are pressurizing the government. But old government now has gone. We have passed through a general election in my country. In the general election, our opposition party, BJP, have a now thumping majority. They have, I think, they have formed the government. And we have seen the past record of the BJP in their period of 6 years. They have decided to create a new cabinet minister in the cabinet to hand over the all profit-making industry to the private parties. During that six years, they have sold entire government sector to the private sector. Now they have again come to the power, and we know that before coming to power, that gentleman who will now becoming a new Prime Minister of India have given an open speech in the one of the employers federation, that is FICCI. He said in the meeting that government has no business to run the business, government has to give only governance. It means they will try to hand over 6% organized sector to the unorganized sector, to the employer, so that they can run the entire business in our country. Government may come from BJP, government may come from other party, but workers have to unite. We have no alternative until we have to decide to join one platform, one agenda, and we should fight together. That is our main decision, and according to that decision we are fighting in our country. And after going through the third World Congress of ITUC and ITUC slogan to strengthen the worker power, but on the other hand, all the capitalists, with the help of elected government, have decided to weaken the workforce, and we are on the field, and we hope that joint struggle will give strong fight to the elected government and all the capitalists. We are demanding our share. We are demanding our share. We don't allow any political party or employer to eat our share. We are fighting to get our share. We don't allow any party to take our share. We want only our share honorably. We are not beggar. Workers are not beggar. Workers are developing the countries. We are giving our blood for our country. We want that our country should flourish. We want that our country should progress. We want that our country should be as a developed country, but we don't allow any employer or government to eat our share. This is my Hind Mazdoor Sabha feeling, and I hope that all other central trade union, my brothers and sisters here in the World Congress, they have also decided to fight with the all government, those who formulate anti-labor policies in favor of employer, and we will fight it out at our own country, because I hope that there should be a slogan: we unite globally and fight locally, and international solidarity should be strengthened, and we will fight in our country against these all anti-labor policies. And according to that, we have seen in the last 21 years, all jobs are reducing, job securities are gone, and no social security have been there. For that purpose, we are fighting with the employers as well as with the anti-labor policies of the Government of India. This is my speech in the third World Congress. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Alexander, and apologies once again. Next speaker, Brother Kila Nath Dahal, President, NTUC, Nepal. Please.
Respected Chair, General Secretary ITUC AP, brothers and sisters throughout the globe devoted for the better life of working people and dignity of the work, and the colleagues from media. Namaskar, good morning, and Jai Nepal to all my brothers and sisters here on behalf of Nepali Trade Union Movement, 380,000 members of Nepal Trade Union Congress, and Kila Nath Dahal, President of NTUC. Respected Chair, Nepali labor force comprises 11.8 million people, among them more than 90% workers working in informal economy. Around 10% of total workforce is unionized within the trade union movement. So there is huge potentiality of bringing working people in the movement, but the challenge is informality and inherence inbuilt in the informality as elsewhere. Most of the informal workers working as precarious work. Although minimum wage is less than $85 per month in our country, but workers are compelled to work below the minimum wage. This is the situation in the formal sector. Minimum wage for the 90% workers in the informal economy is the greatest challenge to us. Furthermore, they have no record system at local authority. They are not getting minimum wage. There is no provision of social security and other benefits. Every year, 450,000 of Nepalese youths are entering into labor market. They are not getting job within the country. Around 1,500 Nepalese youths are going abroad per day to seek job. Now 3.5 million Nepalese workers are working in abroad as migrant workers except in India. Among them, around 100,000 are women. They are working there in vulnerable situation. They are not getting minimum wage and working in the worst condition. They are compelled to work there as bonded firm. Nepal is receiving around 3 dead bodies per day from the country of destination. Trade union has to organize different activities in country of origin as well as the country with destination for the workers' right, as well build their capacity. In this context, NTUC is creating NTUC support group in the country of destination and organizing awareness program before living in their origin. Similarly, NTUC has planned to unionize returning migrant workers at local level and integrate their knowledge, skill, experience, as well as commitment for the betterment of the country. Since 2 decades, we are in political turmoil. Though we brought the democracy in track in 2006, but still we are in transition. In November 2013, we had a CA election and country is in the process of constitution making. In this scenario, we have to fold responsibilities. Responsibility of securing the workers' right in the new constitution. Responsibility of protecting the right of the working people within the situation. Both the responsibility we are for the building of workers' power. To secure the workers' right in the constitution, NTUC is committed for its best effort with the solidarity of entire Nepalese trade union movement through Joint Trade Union Coordination Committee and the irregular political lobbying and the campaigning. Rectification of ILO Convention 87 is our priority for the stability of workers' right. To protect the workers' right, NTUC has priority of establishing social security for all the workers, strict implementation of minimum wage in the target of attaining fair living wage to the working people, rectification of ILO Convention 177 and 189 to address the challenges of informality of work and bring the workers in the production chain in the fold of trade union movement. For this, we will focus ourselves on constant campaigning to increase minimum wage and implement it properly, campaigning for social security to introduce social security for all types of workers, especially informal workers, strengthening collective bargaining mechanism at all levels. Finally, organizing is the only mean. We extend our strong commitment to focus in it. We are focused on organizing youth, organizing women workers and bring in leadership, organizing informal workers of every life of work, organizing migrant workers. All of you are well known about the vulnerability of Nepalese migrant worker situation. We extend our sincere request to all the colleagues and the globe trade union leader and the entire conference for the strong resolution for the migrant workers' right, as well as the launching the effective program for it. We extend our commitment at national and the global level. We extend our strong solidarity for the workers' winning and the dignity of work nationally and globally. Thanks for your kind attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Kira. Next speaker, Sister Untitled Chapter, International Director, Histadrut, Israel.
Good morning, dear brothers and sisters, and shalom. My name is Avital Shapira, and I'm the director of the International Department of the Histadrut. It is a great pleasure to be here on behalf of Chairman Eni and all the members of the Histadrut. We are the largest workers' organization in the country, representing 700,000 workers from all parts of Israeli society. Our membership has been rapidly rising over the last few years. Domestic as well as multinational companies such as AAG, UPS, McDonald's, Nestle, Sodexo Group, and Veolia have internalized the critical importance of sustainable job, secure incomes, and social protection. This wave of union growth was not coincidental. In the last 4 years, we've been vehemently struggling for realizing rights, fighting for equality and promoting social justice. We were prominent in 2011 social protests and held a general solidarity strike which saw organized workers strike for the benefit of unorganized, precarious workers. These efforts have yielded many agreements, such as raising the minimum wage, increasing pension contribution, encouraging employment of women and people with disability, and significantly improving the rights of contract workers. One of the most challenging struggles the Histadrut faced was the right of organization. We fought to achieve a precedent-setting court ruling which prohibits the employer from interfering in organizing initiatives in any way. This ruling was also based on international rulings we received from many ITUC members. Thank you, dear brothers and sisters. You proved enormous effect of international trade union solidarity on building workers' power nationally. On the basis of this, the Histadrut has initiated a strategic organizing campaign which you can view on the ITUC Congress website that highlight that the clear message that workers' rights are not negotiable. The Histadrut has not only focused on domestic issues, but also on international affairs. In this regard, we value the cooperation that already exists between the Histadrut and PGFTU. Our cooperation is reflected in various joint agreements, including the landmark agreement, through which we transferred more than $10 million to PGFTU, providing legal support for Palestinian workers, vocational training, and distributing brochures printed in Arabic outlining their rights. We continue to assist and provide solidarity to PGFTU in many ways. For example, in 2011, we assisted the Scottish Fire Brigades Union in transferring humanitarian aid to Nablus, and currently we are, at the request of PGFTU, finding employment opportunities in the Israeli construction sector for Palestinian workers. All these activities are part of the infrastructure needed for peace and reconciliation between our peoples. It is our role as trade unions to serve as a beacon to the politician and reflect the mutual benefit of a just and lasting peace. We would like to reiterate our deep support for the resumption of the peace negotiations, finalizing two states for two peoples solution. Unfortunately, there are some anti-Histadrut organs with biased one-sided attitude singling out Israel and its trade unions, ignoring the fact that Israel is a sole democracy in the Middle East, which respects trade union, women, and minorities' rights. This conduct is counterproductive, and it's liable to harm innocent workers, stoke divisions on the ground, and intensify the already tense political climate. On a larger scale, these organs betray the guiding principles of the trade union movement, solidarity and brotherhood. The Histadrut, on the other hand, believes in dialogue and constructive deeds. Through grassroots initiative, we are convinced that things can change. To us, it's clear that PGFTU wants to work with us with peace, and therefore we believe it is a duty of the ITUC as trade unionists to express solidarity with the Histadrut and PGFTU and support our deeds to defeat the status quo. We must continue to focus on promoting the cooperation and understanding. We must engage rather than disengage. I call on the ITUC brothers and sisters to support joint ventures between the Israeli and Palestinian unions with a demonstrated commitment to democracy, social justice, and a two states for two peoples solution. Sisters and brothers, we all share the same struggles and values, and we are looking forward to working with you together. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Vidal. Next speaker, Brother Shahir Saeed, General Secretary, PGFTU, Palestine. Please.
Brother Suzuki, the General Secretary of the ITU-CAB, sister and brother, I have to speak in Arabic because we decide as the Arab to give our message in Arabic. في البداية اسمحوا لي أن نهنئكم بنجاح المؤتمر الثالث للاتحاد الدولي لنقابات العمال في العالم، وما شاهدناه من معركة في النضال النقابي العالمي في إعادة بناء قوة العمال وإعادة الحركة العمالية العالمية للأمام، إنما يعني تماما بأننا على السير أو على الخط الصحيح من أجل العدالة الاجتماعية أن تسود، وبدون نضال نقابي وبدون تغيير الواقع العمالي لا يمكن أن نعيد بناء قوة العمال. وهذا يلزمنا في استحقاقات مختلفة بالنسبة للحماية الاجتماعية، لحماية حق التعليم لأولادنا، لحمايتهم وإيجاد تأمين صحي لهم، وأيضا فرض الضمان الاجتماعي. أمامنا العولمة وغول العولمة وغول الغلاء الفاحش، لذلك نحن نحتاج لأن نكون قوة لا يستهان بها، قوة بدون أن نعمل سويا لا يمكن أن نكون قوة. الانتهاكات متعددة للطبقة العاملة الفلسطينية، الانتهاكات أيضا للطبقة العاملة العالمية، الاستغلال للنساء العاملات، كل هذا صعوبات نواجهها معا من أجل نشر العدالة الاجتماعية ومن أجل أن نعمل سويا. كل ذلك يطلب منا أن نعمل بخبرات متعددة ومن أجل زيادة حجم الطبقة العاملة وزيادة عضويتها. وكما قالت السيدة شارون بيرو الأمين العام بأن التنظيم والنضال النقابي معا نستطيع أن نكون قوة أكبر كاتحاد دولي للنقابات في زيادة حجم العمال. الحضور كريم، رغم معاناتنا من الاحتلال الإسرائيلي نعمل بكل جهد وإخلاص من أجل حقوق عمالنا. ناضلنا بأن يكون الحد الأدنى للأجور، الضمان الاجتماعي، الإضرابات العمالية، ولكن لنا هم كبير هو الاحتلال الإسرائيلي. هذا الاحتلال يجب أن يسود عن أرضنا ووطننا، يجب أن يحرر السجناء، يجب أن نخلق واقع جديد من السلام العادل والشامل، وهو بإقامة الدولة الفلسطينية المستقلة وعاصمتها القدس. لابد أن نشير أيضا إلى الحصار، إلى التجويع على شعبنا وخاصة في قطاع غزة، هذا الحصار الظالم القاتل التي ينفذه الجيش الإسرائيلي، وهذا يؤدي إلى زيادة نسبة البطالة والفقر بين صفوف الطبقة العاملة الفلسطينية. إننا مؤمنون بأن يسود السلام العادل والشامل في منطقتنا، وأن نعيش بسلام وأمان، وأن تكون دولتنا مستقلة وحرة وديمقراطية وعاصمتها القدس الشريف. هذا ما ننظر إليه. ننظر إلى الشرعية الدولية، إلى تطبيق قرارات الشرعية الدولية، قرار 242 و338 و194. ويجب أن نؤكد بأننا دائما من أجل العمل المشترك، من أجل إنهاء كافة ما تعانيه طبقتنا العاملة الفلسطينية، ويجب أن تنتهي أيضا وإزالة كافة المستوطنات عن أرضنا وعن شعبنا. وكذلك جدار الفصل العنصري الذي مهمته فقط هو تقطيع أواصر الناس. نعم، بأن يسود سلام عادل وشامل في المنطقة، وهذا السلام لا يسود إلا بإقامة دولة فلسطينية مستقلة وعاصمتها القدس. Thank you. شكرا.
Thank you, Brother Hazel. Next speaker, Brother Osman Yildiz, General Secretary, Akis, Turkey.
Dear General Secretary of ITUCAP and dear participants, I greet you all on behalf of Hakish Confederation in Turkey. I would like to share some front lines concerning building workers' power in Turkey in line with ITUC policy statement. Building workers' power requires fundamental efforts and endeavors in many respects, varying from organizing the workers to the ensuring occupational health and safety measures. Recent tragic accident in Soma mining underlines that building worker powers starts with the ensuring life security and guarantee for workers. Turkey has been doing good to increase the occupational health and safety measures, but we see that we have a long way to go in this respect. In building workers' power, organizing unorganized workers is the starting point, we believe. As Hakish, we have been endeavoring to create new unions to be active in all 20 industrial sectors. We as Hakish launched a campaign to organize subcontracting workers in Turkey. In last 5 months, we achieved to organize around 40,000 subcontracting workers. These subcontracting companies are providing services to various ministries. We invite subcontracting workers to unionize, and we achieved in this respect. We want to empower them with the collective bargaining rights to be exercised by them after becoming member of unions. We want to achieve a similar campaign for domestic workers in Turkey. The basic difficulty for domestic workers is that they are considered unemployed, and the registration systems in Turkey is called e-state system, doesn't technically allow unemployed to be registered as member. We need experience of other countries how to organize unemployed workers. We do start achieving more activities for women. We successfully campaigning for the unionization of women in Turkey. Turkey is achieving to decrease informal economy. Despite this, it is too high as around 36%. Informal economy is a hurdle against decent work and union organizing. For building workers' power, legal regulation plays a fundamental role. We have a new trade union law. It is certainly a progress as compared to the past. However, it still covers some basic problems and limitations as high thresholds against the competence for collective bargaining right, as well as limitations for companies having workers less than 30 workers. We would like to progress with EU and ILO standards, having a process for opening Chapter 19 for negotiations with European Union. Lastly, in this Congress, we mentioned about peace in different countries like Ukraine, Syria, Central Africa, and others. We want peace in our region and across the world. The peace is important for us, for the workers, for everybody. In this respect, I want to refer to a recent initiative of peaceful negotiations started in Cyprus. We support these new initiatives. We all give support for this initiative for a final positive conclusions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Osman. Next speaker is Brother Nabhan Ahmed Muhammad Al-Batashi, Chair, GFOTU Oman. Please.
شكرا أخي سيزوكي. الأخوة والأخوات الحضور الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. في البداية يشرفني إصالة عن نفسي ونيابة عن إدارة مجلس الاتحاد العام لعمال سلطنة عمان وكافة العاملين على أرض السلطنة أن أتقدم إليكم بالشكر الجزيل وعظيم الامتنان على قبول اتحادنا الفتي العضو بالاتحاد الدولي للنقابات، وذلك في الاجتماع 11 للمجلس العام في مدينة بروكسل. كما أعرب لكم عن خالص تقديرنا للاتحاد الدولي للنقابات دعوته لنا كاتحاد عام لعمال سلطنة عمان للمشاركة في هذا اللقاء الهام بهدف التنسيق والتشاور والحوار لإيجاد الصيغة المناسبة التي تحقق التكامل وآليات العمل واقتراح الحلول اللازمة لها وتبادل الآراء التي تساهم في الارتقاء بأداء هذا الاتحاد وتطلعاته المستقبلية، وتوفير بيئة عمل جاذبة للطبقة العاملة والتحرك الفعال لتحمل المسؤوليات والمشاركة في صنع القرار على الصعيدين الوطني والدولي، خاصة وأن هذه الاتحادات باتت تشكل أهمية بالغة وشراكة حقيقية مع أطراف الإنتاج الأخرى. حضورنا الكريم، حرصا منا على مد جسور التعاون المشترك بين الاتحاد العام لعمال سلطنة عمان والاتحاد الدولي للنقابات، فإننا على استعداد تام للعمل سويا لتعزيز التعاون وتبادل الخبرات مع كافة الاتحادات المنضوية تحت مظلة الاتحاد الدولي للنقابات للارتقاء بالعمل النقابي على المستوى العلمي والمهني. كما إننا نتطلع أن يكون الاتحاد العام لعمال سلطنة عمان أحد المحطات الفاعلة في الشرق الأوسط التي نطمح أن تكون بتعاوننا معكم وتعاونكم معنا فاعلين في المحيط الإقليمي والدولي. إن التجربة التي مر بها الاتحاد العام لعمال سلطنة عمان خلال الفترة الماضية أبرزت بشكل لا يقبل الشك بأن لغة الحوار أثبتت فعاليتها في تعزيز العلاقات بين أطراف الإنتاج. ولدعم تعزيز هذا المبدأ عملنا ومنذ البداية على تنمية وصيانة الحقوق والحريات النقابية عبر محاور وقنوات متعددة من خلال منظمة العمل الدولية والاتحادات الصديقة في مقدمة ذلك النهوض بتشريعات العمل الوطنية وشمولها لأحكام تعترف بحق التنظيم النقابي وتوفير الحماية والحصانة اللازمة لتتمكن النقابات من أداء رسالتها باستقلالية وقوة واقتدار. وكان الطريق إلى ذلك عبر معايير العمل الدولية واستراتيجيات واضحة، ولا زلنا نعمل على هذا النحو لنصل لأهدافنا المنشودة. إننا في الاتحاد العام لعمال سلطنة عمان نثمن الجهود التي يبذلها الاتحاد الدولي للنقابات في دعم الحراك النقابي والعمالي على المستوى الوطني والإقليمي والدولي، ونعرب عن بالغ ترحيبنا بالتعاون معه لتحقيق التوازن والاستقرار الذي تنشده الطبقة العاملة في بلداننا، وبما يخدم أهدافنا المشتركة، آملين أن تكلل أعمال لقائكم هذا بتوصيات بل بقرارات هامة تخدم الصالح العام وتساهم في تحقيق الآمال المنشودة للعمال. وفقنا الله وإياكم لما فيه الخير، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you, Brother Nabhan. Next speaker, Sister Manali Shah, National Secretary, Seva, India, please.
Good morning to all my brothers and sisters, and namaste to all of you. Today I'm really happy to share with you the glorious victory we had for the street vendors on 5th March of this year. The Street Vendors Protection of Livelihood and Regulation of Street Vending Act 2004. It was passed unanimously by both the houses of the Parliament. Street vendors who are the own account, self-employed earners constitutes the majority of the workforce in informal economy. Nearly 1.5 to 2% population of every city in India constitutes street vendors. In India, we have 40 million street vendors, out of which we have organized 250,000 women street vendors. This act is outcome of Seva's 41 years struggle. In the informal economy, you cannot get anything easily. You have to fight, you have to struggle, and we have to apply different strategy, 4 or 5 strategies one time. And sometimes none of these strategies work out. And then we have to struggle again and again. I would like to tell you how we struggle for this Street Vendors Act. In 1981, we filed first case in the Supreme Court of India for recognizing the rights of street vendors in one of the markets for 323 street vendors. In 1988, our founder introduced a resolution for the statutory policy that recommended a bill on the status of street vendors. 2001, Seva with Ministry of Urban Development organized a workshop, and in this workshop, Minister of the Urban Development announces the formation of task force on street vendors to formulate the national policy for the street vendors. It's a 3-person task force, and we were one of them in this task force. In 2004, national policy for street vendors was enacted. In 2009, we have a new government, so this policy was revised. In 2010, we demanded, we have a policy, now we want a policy is not compulsory, but it's a good weapon to fight out. So in 2010, we demanded a central law for street vendors. In 2012, group of ministers approved the changes suggested by Seva in the bill. In 2013, bill was approved by the House of Commerce. In 2014, we lost the hope. So we had a hunger strike, which resulted in passing the bill in the upper house. So on 5th March 2014, our president approved this bill, and now we have a Street Vendors Livelihood Protection Act. So I would like to share some of the main points in this act. Very first thing is these vendors vend in a natural market. So natural market is very important for them. So the concept of natural market is defined in the Act as a market where buyers and sellers have traditionally congregated for the sale and purchase of the products of the service. Second important thing is that under this Act, each city will form a town vending committee under this Act. And the main duties and responsibilities of this town vending committee is as follows. One is none of the vendors will be evicted without providing alternative vending space. Otherwise, what is happening is that whatever experience is that municipal council or the police, they just come and they just take away their goods, they beat them and they put them in the lockup. So this one is a very good clause in the Act. Second is that survey will be conducted of all existing vendors and accommodate in the vending zone subject to the norms of 2 to 2.5% of the population of the ward. These workers are invisible, and every time whenever we negotiate with the municipal council and they said, oh, who are they? We don't know them. And through this survey, they will be recognized and they will be visible. The third thing is that certificate of the vending will be issued to every vendor. So this is their visibility. Next is a vendor's representative will constitute 40% of the total members in the town vending committee, out of which 1/3 will be women. Next is that 30 days notice will be given to the vendors in case the need arises to evict them. Next is survey will be conducted every 5 years. Till then, none of the vendors will be evicted. Vendors will have to pay fees to the municipal corporation. Vending license will be renewed periodically. Police or municipal authorities can confiscate the wares perishable of vendors only after following the due procedures. Otherwise, they will just take away their goods. And dispute redressal committee will be constituted, which will be presided by a civil judge or a magistrate. This is also very important. Vendors' duties will consist of maintaining cleanliness, conduct vending activities in allocated vending space, and will not be damage the public property. So these are the main points clause in our Act, and after 41 years we achieved that. It was a long struggle, and we celebrated on 2nd of March, and you can see the picture of it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sister Magali. Next speaker, we have one guest speaker, Brother Felix Anthony from Fiji.
Building workers' power, a theme that is very appropriate and timely for the 3rd ITUC World Congress. In Fiji, the workers and their unions are not in any mood at this stage to build workers' power, but to merely survive in the current circumstances with an unelected government that has mandated itself to review and amend all labor legislation and other legislation, including the Constitution of Fiji and the new electoral system that it intends to hold elections on the 17th of September 2014. The situation for workers in Fiji is dire. It is not only workers, but generally the entire population of Fiji is facing an uphill battle. And in this regard, we highlight the increased cost of living in Fiji, the substantial decline in real wage, and in some cases, more than 40% over the last 6 years. Unemployment is at its highest, including youth unemployment, underemployment, poverty, the rise in squatter settlements, decline in health services, inequality across the board, huge social problems, rise in crime and suicide, denial of fundamental human rights, including indigenous rights, control of the media, and absolute absence of any form of accountability or transparency in the current regime. This, of course, is the cornerstone of the principles of good governance. This regime came into power promising the people of the country that it would ensure that governments would forever be accountable to the people, be transparent to the people. In fact, it has done quite to the contrary. I must say, this is deceit at its worst. This regime has also ignored numerous ILO governing body resolutions calling upon it to respect fundamental workers' rights in the country, and this includes the right to freedom of association, freedom to collective bargaining, and also freedom of assembly. It has continued to ignore these pleas. Just a couple of months ago, the governing body has resolved that should Fiji not accept a context mission in the near future, and at least before the next November governing body session, then it would decide upon a commission of inquiry into Fiji. Fiji, at the ILO, is rated as one of the third worst violators of ILO core conventions, and this is nothing that any country, including Fiji, ought to be proud of. When we talk about the denial of workers' rights, this includes collective bargaining, the right to strike, the recourse to dispute settling machinery, and most workers, including civil servants, government statutory bodies, workers in the private sector, are denied these fundamental rights over the last 2 to 3 years. The trade union movement in Fiji has campaigned long and hard, and of course internationally. And while we are grateful to the international community, including the ILO, the ITUC, our brothers and sisters around the world who have supported and campaigned for the return of democracy to Fiji, we see that with the absence of any freedom of association and the right to strike in Fiji, our only option available is a political option. And the Fiji Trades Union Congress has decided to form a political party which will contest the coming elections, called the People's Democratic Party. And we believe that while the entire world is prepared to assist us, campaign for us, and to raise their voices in our support, eventually it will have to be the people of Fiji that would have to decide their own course. And this election offers an opportunity for the workers and citizens of this country to make that change, to stand up. It is time for the people of Fiji to stand up and be counted, to begin this long march, as we call it, to our freedoms and to reclaim our rights in a country that we love so much. The coming elections, of course, has its own challenges, and the regime itself has now imposed decrees on the trade unions that it cannot in any way participate in any political activity, including unionists or employees of trade unions holding office, supporting a trade union, or even attending to any political activity whatsoever that may compromise the neutrality of trade unions. This, of course, is unjust and unfair. We condemn this restriction as our denial of our freedom of association and, of course, our denial of our individual rights as citizens of the country to participate in the political life of the country. And a similar denunciation has been made by the International Labour Organization. However, we have a regime that's mandated itself and shamelessly continues to impose this decrees. This decree has forced me to step down as the head of the trade union movement in Fiji, but to continue to take on the workers' cause in Fiji. And I remain determined and committed to the workers of Fiji to take their cause on, and we look forward to the restoration of workers' rights in Fiji and the restoration of human rights in Fiji in totality as soon as possible after the next elections. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Brother Felix. Now, I want to invite Sister Chamba Verma, Vice Chair of the ITUC, the Pacific Women's Committee from HMS India, on behalf of the ITUC-AP Women's Committee.
Thank you very much. Respected Chair and General Secretary and distinguished guests, dear colleagues, sisters and brothers, it is my pleasure to have an opportunity to deliver few words in this Congress. I am a Champa Verma, HMS India, but I speak on behalf of Asian Women Committee Vice Chair. At the outset, I would like to convey warm greeting on behalf of Asia Women Committee. Respected General Secretary, I would like to thank and convey our appreciation of paperless conference arranged by you. Yesterday, Brother Guy Ryder spoken about decent job for decent life and social justice, especially for informal economy workers. Respected General Secretary, improving condition of work and standard of living in the informal economy is the major challenge facing the trade union today. If really we want to organize informal workers, we need decent job for decent life, but change taking place in the quality of workers. Life in Asia region is fast changing complex situation of the globalization, liberalization. In the last decade, this has a lot of implications in the entire Asia, particularly in South Asia. In the field of labor laws, loss of employment in organized sector, declining industrial growth, increased informal sector, closure of public sector, increased of women workers in informal economy. It is very difficult to organize them, very difficult to decent work. There is no labor rights. There is no meaning of ILO core conventions. Although HMS reached out them and tried to organize them, and South Asia leaders and women committee also tried to them, the task became even more urgent since the informal economy or a temporary abnormality, as was thought earlier by the unions and the policymaker alike. Informal economy in the present situation is bound to increase. Women workers are more and more victimized. Their workers are being engaged on bare servile wages, and at the time even below that there is little or no social security. Most of these workers is unorganized, unrecognized, and absolutely unprotected because of, in this sector, majority of women workers. Respected Chair and General Secretary, we trade union, and especially South Asia, and especially HMS of affiliates of trade union engaged in organized the informal sector. I hope this section of workers will receive priority in the attention of the ITUC. I hope we would more focus on implementation of formulated of policy and strategy. which address the need of workers in formal sector. So sisters and brothers, in the moment, what are we waiting for? Let's make organizing the informal workers one of the trade union priority now. Because of all these challenges, we cannot meet without a strong trade union movement. Yesterday, Sister Sharon Barun also spoken about a strong trade union movement and solidarity. But I think without women, we cannot achieve the trade union's goal and a strong trade union movement. I tell you one thing, you should think about it. Can you imagine the world without women? Can you imagine the birth of child without women? Cannot. Can you imagine the family without women? Cannot. Can you imagine the survive market economy? Cannot. Can you enjoy the life without women? Cannot. Then how can possible we make a strong trade union movement without women? So, union need women and women need union. It's true. We need women in leadership. We need women in decision making. We need women in equality. We need women in at the all level with parity. We need more and more young women to join the trade union. We are more powerful when we unite women workers at all around the world. Let's unite and make our union and ourselves the powerful and more successful. HMS wish you all success in their efforts also. Thanks for giving attention and giving me opportunity and listening me. Solidarity forever. Because of for the max trade union, strong trade union movements. It is true. Thank you very much. Allow me. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Champa. Now, all speakers have delivered their speeches. I thank them for their very powerful statements. For building power, building workers' power, women and youth are important, as many speakers highlighted. We have a quite active regional women's committee and youth committee, and I'm happy that today Sister Champa Verma was able to come to deliver her speech on behalf of the ITUC-AP Women's Committee. Youth Committee is quite active in the action, both regionally and nationally. The Youth Committee has Youth Charter as their policy guidelines as part of the ITUC-AP decisions. They have 5 main areas for action. Number 1 is creation of job opportunity, vocational training, decent working conditions and social safety nets for youth, youth poverty, issues of HIV/AIDS and drug, and importantly, participation of youth in mainstream of trade union and in the governing bodies of the union. Recently, the Youth Committee conducted a survey on seriousness of youth issues, especially their unemployment due to flexible labor market policy are clearly identified. This is the survey result of the Youth Committee. This booklet is now uploaded on the homepage of the ITUC Asia Pacific. Now, friends, on this final note, we now conclude the Congress Live Asia Pacific, and thank you for watching this session. Thank you very much. Thank you.